Hello and welcome to today's episode on the Craving Crypto podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be going into some more juicy details of the Binance API hack and talking about the whole Syscoin thing in further detail, as well as talking about hard forks as a crypto flaw debunked and the market overview as always. So let's get right into this. All right, so we are at our document. As always, you can find this in the description below. This is episode 7 titled Binance API Hack. So let's get right into the market overview. On coinmarketcap.com, Bitcoin being number 1 at 113.7 billion in market capitalization. Current price is at $6,638. Volume is just below 5 billion and 24-hour change is up 0.4%. Ethereum is at 47 billion in market capitalization. Price is $473. 24-hour volume is 1.8 billion and 24-hour change is up 1%. XRP is a little bit bloodier, 18 billion in market cap, 47 cents in price, 276 in volume, and we are down 2.36%. Bitcoin Cash is at 12 billion in market cap, $744 in price. 24-hour volume is at 468 million, and we are down about 2.9%. EOS at 7 billion in market cap, $8.88, just under $1 billion in 24-hour volume, and the 24-hour change is down 0.42%. So everything's looking good here. Total market cap is at 269 billion, 24-hour volume is at 15 billion, and we have bounced nicely after we made that new low. And so we're just kind of seeing if this little trend upwards is going to stick. If we do start trending upwards nicely here and making higher highs and higher lows, then we are expecting at least a short-term bullish reversal in the overall cryptocurrency trend, and that could easily continuate into a bigger bullish reversal. So we're just kind of watching these prices, making sure that we don't go in for a new low and create a greater downtrend, and being aware of the possibilities here. But again, I've been accumulating all of this panic because big picture, I understand that this will do a reversal, especially when we're down 80% on most altcoins, and Bitcoin is already down 70% plus on its investment. So since the top here, at least in January of 2018. So everything has corrected pretty hard. It's a good buy the dip if you're thinking for the bigger picture move. So Binance API hack. Let's get into some more details about this because we finally have some actual press releases and some things that we can go over to clear up some of the confusion and actually talk about what really happened that day. Because it was pretty interesting to go through what's happened here. And I've got a few different things that I've gathered up. So this is a longer document. It's 3 pages. I've got all of the access to the Binance statements, so their official statements on the issue. I have some links to the blockchain explorer so that you can see how 7,000 Bitcoin was withdrawn from the exchange and where I found that on Reddit. And then there's some Syscoin statements right here. They did an official debrief on the recent Syscoin issues. And then some statements that they made on Twitter as well. So you can go click on all these links and back check this information and get your perspective on it as well. Basically, what I noticed while all of this was happening is that it sounds like a user got access to API keys on the Binance network and did a lot of internal trading. So Binance did release some statements about this, and they said an API key reset right here. And it says, due to irregular trading on some APIs, Binance will remove all existing API keys as a precautionary security measure. So if you don't know what an API key is, it basically means it's a backdoor into somebody's account. So if you have an exchange at Poloniex or Binance or Bittrex, they all have API keys. So you take these keys and you can connect them to either places like Coinigy, which allows you to buy and sell on their platform through the exchange, or you can take these API keys and send them to a bot, which will do trading automatically for you. So they're really useful, but they're also inherently a little bit of a security flaw. And I want to talk about this for a second, especially towards the end as I go over some security measures you can take so that you don't have any issues with the API keys. The thing is with an API key is if somebody else has your secret key, they can also make trades on your account. They can also do deposits and withdrawals depending on how many permissions you let that API key have. So it's basically like a full entrance into your account without needing the password, because it can just make key calls. So it just sends a piece of code to that key, and then something happens on the exchange with your account. So what I think happened that day with Binance is we had an API key security hack, meaning that a hacker was able to get into a large portion of API keys and do irregular trades, as they stated right here, manipulating the price of Syscoin. This is our weekly comment that we're going over, and he says, Syscoin team is preparing an official statement, which we're about to read in a minute. Syscoin was not hacked at all. There was neither the fabled 51% attack nor the Syscoin API hacked. The issue was entirely internal to Binance and their own API. That's why Binance locked all trading and reset everyone's API keys. What has confused people was when Syscoin announced they were investigating a possible issue, doing due diligence. Before, during the Binance issue with Sys devs noticed an atypical numerous transactions involving a single bag of 45 million existing Sys rapidly doing address to another address. So he's basically just saying that 45 million Sys coins were getting sent back and forth between two separate addresses rapidly. And these transactions turned out to be completely legitimate as far as the Syscoin protocol goes. So it's not anything that, shouldn't have been happening on that chain. So the majority of the issue looks like it was over on Binance's end of things. And that's what Brad is saying here. So thank you for that comment. He said that the rumor was a mix of ignorance, a chance to opportunistically shill other projects, and probably some intentional FUD. So he's saying maybe Sys did some intentional FUD to make the price drop really hard because there's a profitable aspect of flooding a market. So I mean, that's a really interesting perspective. So thank you so much for sharing that, Brad. I do agree with you, and from the research that I've done on this, I believe that the majority of the problem was over at Binance, and you can see this because Sys did the official statement. So they have on their GitHub, they say that a debrief on the recent Syscoin trading activity, and it basically says, was Syscoin hacked? Was Syscoin otherwise compromised or attacked? Or was it something else entirely? And they say Syscoin was not hacked, the chain was not attacked, the Syscoin chain is fully operational as per design. So that means that there wasn't any problems on the end of Syscoin. It was all happening with the API keys on the Binance end of things. And by the way, if you missed the last video on this, go check it out, because we talked about all of the Syscoin stuff literally the day it happened and showed a nice little video of watching the price go all the way up to that super, super high, what was it, 73 Bitcoin or something like that. It was between like 50 and 100 Bitcoin where it topped out, and that's just pure price manipulation based on the API keys that basically happened there. And so somebody ended up buying a Syscoin for that many per coin. It's just ridiculous, to see that. But it's just, all part of these markets. Stuff like this happens all the time. And it is kind of interesting to look into the details of what was really going on. So, but yeah, you can actually find what the hacker did with this money because he withdrawed it publicly on the blockchain. So if you go over here to this blockchain.com address, you can see that 7,000 Bitcoin was withdrawn to this specific address in a few different transactions here. And this happened right at the time of the Syscoin thing that was going on, the whole hacking thing. So this is kind of an interesting thing to be aware of and be watching, because it's public, right? And this is why blockchains are so cool, is because all of these transactions are public. And yes, there is a lot of inherent beauty in the private blockchains as well, but this is really cool to be able to come on here and see when a hacker did something and watch how 7,000 Bitcoin was moved from one place to the next. And I'm pretty sure that this is confirmed that this was the hacker, but I could be wrong on that. It was just, this is what I can find on Reddit, and so take it for what it's worth, but I'm pretty sure that this is the real transaction that happened that day from that hacker, this 7,000 Bitcoin being withdrawn. And again, I found this on this Reddit forum right after the Binance withdrawals were being suspended. So, I personally think that what happened, it looks like Binance released another statement now called SAFU, S-A-F-U. and it basically says that they're doing more security measures to keep everybody's money, in control so that nobody's having issues. If we just go over here and find this article, okay, recap on the irregular SIS trading. So this one right here, they just talk about what happened with the SIS. They say that the API keys were being manipulated, and that if you're not a usual API user, please do not create an API key. So this is what I'm going to talk about towards the end of the video as far as security lessons go. And then they say, to protect future interests of all users, Binance will create a secure asset fund for users, SAFU, S-A-F-U. Starting on 2018-07 of 14, we will allocate 10% of all trading fees received into a SAFU offer protection to our users and their funds. In extreme cases, this fund will be used and stored in a separate cold wallet. So basically they're saying that they're going to save 10% of all of their fee money just in case something crazy happens, so that they can refund people, reverse transactions, so that the money is there and they don't have to be worried or wonder where to get the money if something happens on their end of things. Because this was, Binance's fault in a sense. They were attacked and they got hacked, and so it was a security flaw on their end that these API keys were able to be manipulated like this and used. So this is them going out of their way to try and fix the issue, and they said that they're dedicated to making sure all of their customers are happy, and they're in the middle of making history and they're testing it again and again. We believe every test makes it stronger. So they're talking about growing their community, testing all of the flaws in their server and making sure it's secure. And they're very thankful for all of their supporters. And I will say that I really do like the Binance team. I think it's a great exchange. What happened here was pretty crazy. A lot of exchanges have been hacked. I mean, when you store this much money on a certain server, hackers are going to see that as an opportunity. Unfortunately, it's just the way the world is. And I think that Binance goes out of their way to make things secure. It's just, you can't be 100% perfect on everything, and they realize that, and that's why they're allocating 10% of their trading fees for this SAFU asset fund. So that's something that, I think is good for them to be going out of their way to fix this problem. I would expect them to, considering they're basically the biggest cryptocurrency exchange in the world, and they have so many users, and they really got to protect their name. But yeah, that's basically what happened with Binance and SIS. It's a pretty crazy little experience with API keys getting manipulated. And again, those are just like a backdoor into your account so that trading can happen. So I was saying that I would talk about some security things as far as API keys go, so that you guys don't run into this type of issue yourself. And one of the things that I want to mention is that API keys are risky and dangerous. So personally for me, I don't keep my money on exchanges, or at least not all of it. I keep whatever I need for trading, but everything else I keep on hardware wallets, such as Trezor wallets or Ledger wallets, because then I know that I hold my keys to my money. Nobody else can manipulate or hack that. So I feel a lot safer having the majority of my funds on hardware wallets. With that being said, you still have to do some trading on exchanges. In fact, you have to do quite a bit of trading on exchanges. So you might have 50% of your portfolio on exchanges at some point in time, which is a little bit risky, but it's something that you have to understand could happen. And if that's true, then you need to have some security measures in place. One of those security measures is two-factor authentication. So all of these cryptocurrency exchanges allow 2FA. You basically just download an app on your cell phone. It's called Google Auth, and it gives you these little codes, and every time you log into your account, you just type in that code, and it makes sure that hackers can't back into your account through login information. The other thing that you can do is not use API keys unless you absolutely have to. So if you're a bot, then you absolutely have to use API keys to access the exchange to make those trades. But for the majority of your day trading or just normal trading, I would avoid using API keys, especially if you're new to all of this, because you might send that API key to the wrong address. It might be an email address, and then somebody finds that email, back into that, and find the email, find the code, take the key, and then they can trade on your account and they could potentially manipulate it. So those are just two things I highly recommend. Well, actually three is, get that hardware wallet so that you're not keeping all your money on public exchanges. Make sure that you have two-factor authentication enabled so that no hacker can get in through the back door of your username and password. And then make sure that you don't use API keys unless you're bot trading, or you absolutely have to, because it's very dangerous. And if you do use API keys, don't send them through emails, don't send them through private messengers, because they might get intercepted. Then those keys get into the hands of the wrong person. So that's kind of my thought there. Binance, going out of their way to fix it, but it's just a normal thing that happens, especially when a lot of users are on an exchange and a lot of money is. Somebody's going to try to figure out how to make some money off of that. So it's expected. But yeah, so let's talk about a crypto flaw debunked. And one of them is hard forks. People are always like, oh no, hard forks ruin cryptocurrency. They always make us have to upgrade wallets. Miners hate them. Like, everybody hates hard forks for some reason. And honestly, I get that it's a little bit of a hurdle, but I've never thought of hard forks as a reason that crypto is a bad thing. In fact, in retrospect, if you zoom out a little bit and think about it big picture, hard forks are really good, because that means we can upgrade our money. For the first time in history, humanity can upgrade their money. They can get their money and they can code it, they can program it, they can make changes to it, they can make it more efficient, they can make it better, more usable. And although some issues with hard forks, such as maybe people don't know how to do the fork, or it can mess up a lot of people's funds. So people will be holding their coins in a certain fund, and then they're like, oh no, I didn't know about this hard fork. I have to go do this now. And so it's a little bit of a hurdle, and it's confusing. And yes, it's not perfect, but it's also short term. Cryptocurrency is new. We're very, very young in this. We're going to figure out ways to make hard forks less of a pain. And we're going to figure out ways to increase productivity in programming crypto code and make it less of a big deal. Because, and shout out to Ivan on Tech, by the way, because he's got a great YouTube channel. He's a Swedish YouTuber that talks about all of this crypto stuff. So go watch his stuff. It's really awesome. But he talks about how cryptocurrency is like programming hardware. Once you program it, like, you can't really make that many modifications to it without having everybody have to upgrade to the new piece of hardware. So that means that you do want to do the majority of the dirty work at the start, which is one of the problems with all of these altcoins and all of these ICOs popping up that just, an ERC22 token, or all of these just terrible, they just program some shit code that works for transactions and then release it and say, hey, we have a blockchain. And then what are they going to do down the road when they actually try to apply all of the things that they say they're going to do? They're going to have to do all these hard forks, and it's going to be a pain in the butt. So there's issues with hard forks, yes, and I'm aware of all of these problems, but it's just like anything else in life. You have to upgrade your motorcycle, your car. Like, things need replacements, things get better perspective. So somebody might have a new idea on doing something in a better way that's a million times more efficient. And it's not going to be easy to make these changes happen. Change is never easy. Change is usually a little bit uncomfortable. But the fact that we can change it, the fact that we can program our own money and choose how we want it and upgrade it and make it better, is a way better thing than a bad thing. And you can always nitpick out the negative in anything in life. You can find something and you can find all the reasons that it might not work. But usually at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is if it's a good enough idea that people believe it will work. That trumps everything else. If something is a good enough idea, people will fight for that. Once the jack is out of the box, they will continue to develop, they will continue to think, and they will make all of those problems that everybody will look at and point out and be like, that's an issue, this is why it won't work, this is why it won't work, this is why it won't work. Thank you. I love those people. We appreciate the people telling us why it's not going to work. You know why? Because that makes us sit down and go, oh, yeah, that is a little bit of a problem right now. But guess what? There's a solution to every problem, especially when there's a good enough idea that people are interested in figuring out solutions. So there's a demand for innovative thinking. There's a huge demand for innovative thinking in the crypto space. So these things, these little short-term problems, these little arguments are good. We appreciate them. It's a great thing to have these perspectives, but it's also important to be aware that nitpicking every little negative thing about something and then saying it's not going to work isn't a very valid argument. It's a lot better to nitpick reasons what you might have to improve on and work out a solution towards, rather than just saying, oh, it's not going to work because of that. Oh, it'll fail because of this. If you're going to find problems with something, it's better to be like, you guys will have to figure this out, because that's something that's causing issues right now. It's just a lot better of a mindset and works better for everybody. But again, like I said, it's always good to have multiple perspectives on things. You can't be closed-minded to any one way of thinking. And so these issues are good to think about. It's just always better to step back and realize the big picture, that this is amazing technology and there's drive for innovation, and that's not going away. That doesn't go away even when the price drops. People are innovating right now in this space every single day. All right, so that's pretty much everything. Happy late 4th of July. I don't upload on Wednesdays, so I didn't post that day, but I wanted to tell everybody happy 4th. And my Coinigy sign-up links are right here if you're interested in that. BitMEX if you want to do leverage trading. Again, I don't recommend beginners to do this. And then my Bitcoin address, if you like what I'm doing, donations are there. And then my VIP course and Signal link is also here if you want to go check that out. I've been running a sale, so if you're interested in my sale, go ahead and drop in the comments your email address and I can give you more information on that. It's going out quickly though, because the sale only lasts a few days through the 4th of July kind of season. So, just get on that while you can. Hit the comment box below with your email address and I'll help you out with that. Thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I hope that you learned something and enjoyed it. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, questions in the comment box below, and I will see you in the next one. As always, stay profitable out there.